Welcome back to Minez History in Color. May 14th, 2017. The 1.9 update for Minez has left Alhassa a ghost town. Fleeing refugees take over western cities of Frostbane, Clarks, and Cromier. In response, the Unknown Trading Company, or UTC, quietly assembles Task Force Chester, led by Furcho. Neskov 12 and his friends attempted to occupy Cromier, while Insidious attempted to occupy Frostbane. The task force identified almost immediately that Neskov 12 and his friends were a small group. However, this enemy would exploit the radar hack in order to evade the UTC. Updated UTC camouflage from Grey Wolf 64 would later help provide evidence that these foes were indeed cheating. The majority of the skirmishes against Neskov's group were coordinated by the 1st Westerlands Regiment along with Furcho. The 1st Westerlands Regiment was able to muster up some inactive men to help the task force as the company had become crippled by the Alice the Killer directory conspiracy ambition. Throughout the campaign, the task force would see a noticeable shift from members of the entire company, that being the 93rd, 1st, and 234th Regiments, to being just the 234th and then the latter the 501st Regiment. These individuals had become battle-hardened by frequent Hassa raids in late 2016 through April 2017. These frequent fights with the premiums gave insights to premium tactics and allowed Furcho to obliterate the enemy. It should be noted that the Midlands campaign was anything far from a short, concise victory. The Midlands fighting spanned well over a month. The first major victory for the UTC would come on May 16, 2017. The series of battles would be nicknamed Midlands 2017 and granted a battle honor. A UTC patrol headed to Cromier as a scout was sent to Frostbane. The main force encountered Neskov 12 and friends. These hostiles were swiftly defeated. Simultaneously, the scout managed to spot and kill a member of Insidious in Frostbane. The second force, while smaller and less geared, managed to kill 2 more members of Insidious in Frostbane. The two forces then began to comb the Midlands, at which point the smaller force was wiped out by Insidious. However, in the time they had spent fighting, the primary UTC force was able to enter the battle as the last member of the second force met his fate. It was here that Hayes Ranger and Irish Kaiser would score kills on Super Masony and Loud Rick 2002 respectively. While this initial victory gave the young Furcho a boost of confidence and increased the morale of the soldiers, it would be short-lived. Members of Insidious frequently hopped 234th recruits in Frostbane and Clarks. These recruits, fearful of the consequences of dying, rarely reported their deaths. It wasn't until well over a year later that individuals would tell their stories of dying repeatedly at the hands of Insidious. While the task force was deemed complete in late May, as it had completed its primary and secondary objectives, the 234th would continue to skirmish with Insidious until June 16, 2017. On June 16, 2017, after returning from a 3-week-long hiatus, Cyclone and Joe led 2 squadrons into Frostbane. At which point Cyclone, with the Urban Wolf, were jumped by 4 members of Insidious. After kiting and regrouping, the UTC was able to kill all 4 hostiles without losing a single man. This fight was given a battle honor in the UTC and dubbed Frostbane 2017. This fight would be the first time Cyclone would be targeted and tank as his subordinates killed the enemy. This fight would also be the first time Joe would excel at PvP leadership. This task force would cement Furcho as a competent and reliable commander. It was also the beginning of a long career in Minez for Joe. While this campaign has mostly been forgotten by those who were uninvolved, it set the foundation for the UTC's army in 2017. The bond shared by the clones, or those trained by the 234th Regiment, would ultimately compel all of them to still be active in the game and join the Brotherhood in 2018.